Adam already broke 2 strings. He's feeling particularly anti-fascist tonight. That's an anti-fascist song, Bella Ciao, an old partisan song that they would sing before going off to fight the fascists in Italy. So we start each show with an anti-fascist song. I hope we haven't offended any fascists that might be here tonight. Well, let's do the, how about we go ahead and do the coffee shop theme song. And Adam, you do it. Adam repairs instruments for a living, so this shouldn't take too long.
So far away from everybody.
Coffee shop theme song where all this happens, and their motto is keeping the oral tradition alive through social intercourse.
That's good words.
Let's do the song that we can only do it in June without lying. The next song is you can do June. June is busting out all over. We do it throughout the year, but this is the one month we can do it and not be lying. Is now a good time?
It's as good as
Is it
ever.
good?
There's the
Come on
words.
up.
Words are gonna happen.
Here's Kim, the person that made all this happen.
Let's have a curator now. I want to say thank you to everybody, especially this band who has given me a reason to get up in the morning every Friday since I learned about it for 2 years. It's been a roller coaster of hard times and grateful, wonderful things, and it's got me doing art again. How can you listen to them and not be inspired? I was bored, I wanted to be an artist, and now everybody's trying to be an artist. There's stuff on the walls, I must be an artist. They are inclusive, they are inspiring, and inevitable every Friday. And there's something else. I got locked out of my studio, my printer broke, I was late. I don't know, but thank you all. There was something else wonderful I was going to say, just imagine it.
Thank you, Kim.
That was pretty fun.
Well, mission accomplished. I think mission accomplished.
Okay, Ron couldn't make it. Ron does our fashion prompts each week, and Ron is a master at being fashionably late. So he waits till we get started, and then about half hour into the show, he parks his car so that he has to walk all by everybody, pass through the front, and then it's like a red carpet, and then Ron walks in. Now, Ron and Michael are in Italy. And through the
That's how I feel about it.
and through the history of Breakfast Cabaret, a lot of members have traveled and a lot of people have traveled, but somehow I just am there every week. Right?
You have not been there a couple of weeks.
There's a couple of weeks, but I was in town. So this song is called "There's No Place Like Here, There's No Time Like Now." catch my breath. Let's see, we got a lot going on. We got Jack's going to do a reading for the Cowgirl Suite. Adam really hates those fashions tonight because he's breaking strings left and right.
They just do rock and roll. Just rock and roll against strings.
Well, don't we need you on this? These songs?
Yeah. But the reading.
Yeah, so we're not going to. Yeah, but we've shortened his reading. Wow. Right. Yes, we've shortened Jack's. So Jack just went on and on this morning. Let's do. Who's worried? Are you worried, Jack? No, he's not worried. We got together before the show and we did an edit. Yeah, let's do O Mio. Okay, you good for that? Take your time. 35 seconds. Well, I'll do the little intro. And we're gonna do you want to hear the real words or do you want to hear the cat language?
We're taking about
cat language.
Or not cat.
Cat language.
Cat? Who wants cat?
We're gonna do cat language.
Cat? Cat? Alright. I highly recommend the cats.
So when Twila and I first started performing together, I played accordion and she danced. And I said, well, why don't you sing?
Mistake.
And I said, yeah, let's start with a famous operatic piece that all the divas have in their repertoire. And so that's what we started off with. And that's what we're going to do right now in cat language.
Eventually I said, well, I have a male force, suppose I qualify. But that's not the real story. That's just a shame. Don't matter.
Meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow.
Before we have Jack come up here, is he still out there?
He's right here.
There he is. Okay. You keep an eye on him. Okay. The way Breakfast Cabaret started was that Twila and I both have children, and we rehearse in the morning, and that's how those of you who have children know probably you're morning people. And we'd take our kids to school, and then we'd meet for rehearsal. And then we said, well, why don't we just get a gig in the morning? No competition. And so we went down to Crossroads, and we started. I printed out the posters over there. There's about 100. I've done one for every Breakfast Cabaret. There's about 190 posters in this book. And the first one just says, morning concert. And it evolved, and so we started monthly and then bi-monthly, and then we wanted to do it every week, but Will's mom has a Bible study group that conflicted with one of those days, so we said, Will, you're going to have to bump the Christian Bible study group, and you're going to have to talk to your mom. And so he had to talk with his mom, and she said that she was willing to do that. And just by chance, one day, she was having her Christian study group, and Twila walks by, and they invite her into the room, and they're discussing tattoos. And so Twila sits down with the Bible study group, and you talk about your tattoos.
Yeah.
I didn't know that she told me this. Just the other day, yeah.
We were all sitting around in that back room bawling, talking about tattoos and God. I'll never. It was beautiful. It was very beautiful.
So it evolved. So we got to be a monthly thing. Then Giustino, I can't remember the exact evolution. Giustino joined us. People would come and go. Kassia just showed up out of nowhere, but she was at the front table just staring at us.
She walked in and she was like, and then she walked up after. Well, I remember because I saw you at the register, and I was like, she's kind of cute. And then she's like, hey, can I play with you guys? And I'm like, sure, yes.
In CJ, I saw Kroger, and my daughter had been trying to hook me up with CJ for a while, and I'm like, I don't know, who is this guy? Can he really play? So he can. And Adam, where'd you come from, Adam?
I watched you guys for like 5 months before I asked to come play.
Yeah.
My parents got me a mandolin for Christmas, and I want to learn how to play it.
And that's how you do it. So he's learning how to play the mandolin in this band. But if you ever want to join a band or this band, don't just go look at the band first and then tell them that they're really good. and then say, I'd like to join your band. Don't just like, once somebody called me on the phone and wanted to join a band I was in, and I said, have you heard us? He said, no, I just need a job. And I'm like, well, why are you calling me if you want to make money? But Jonathan, I heard, it was probably 10 years ago with the band, with the DJ at WR. What's the DJ's name? Peter Solomon had a band at Crossroads. And the song that really sticks out of my mind is you soloing on Wave. Wave is a beautiful song. And I said to myself, God, someday I want to play with Jonathan Greenburg. I wonder if he'd play with me. So we did. Here we are. Yes, Breakfast Cabaret, ruining the reputation of Richmond's finest musicians. We've run through all of Richmond's musicians, so we brought Ezra in. Ezra's from Twin Oaks. And Kassia and Ezra lived together at Twin Oaks. That's how we met. And Kassia and Ezra are in more than one band, or is it the Vulgars?
And this band.
And this band, right. So they've been playing together a long time. Jack, do you want to come up while we're talking?
Mouths over here.
We're working. What part of Breakfast Cabaret is working on what's called the Cowgirl Suite. And the premise of the Cowgirl Suite is that Lucille Ball and Bertolt Brecht, both who have been dragged in front of the House of Un-American Activities, the committee, for being associated with the Communist Party, they decide that anonymously they're going to start a TV show. This is back in the 50s. And they're going to introduce the public to radical political economic ideas. And they're going to do this. They're going to do this painlessly through a western. And it's the further adventures of Twila Jane, not this Twila Jane, a completely different Twila Jane. Fictional Twila Jane.
It's not really.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Jack, we tapped Jack. Jack does Hidden Histories. Y'all hear that on WRIR? Hidden Histories?
Everyone.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
So, band, to prepare, we're going to do Sunrise. No, we're going to do
You want to do a little bit and then?
No, we're going to do the. No, we're going to do. Here's how it is, man.
Oh, good.
Jack and I met right before. We're going to do the Arabian Violet song.
Okay.
Right where we decided. Then you're going to read some more. We're going to do Sunrise, and then we're going to end with the hanging song. So get up the Arabian Violet.
Yeah, I guess you didn't know that.
Hi, no break.
Okay. So we're going to start.
Yes.
Can I see? There we go. Okay. All right. So Arabian. Just briefly, the songs we're going to play. Arabian Violet is Twila Jane's horse. Sunrise is a song where Twila Jane has been chased by a posse, and she wakes up in the morning, takes a few minutes to appreciate the sunrise before hopping back on her horse and running from the posse. And then the last song, the hanging song, is when after the posse has caught her and they hang her.
But it's not as bad as it sounds.
It's not as bad as it sounds.
Particular term.
Death generally isn't
It's a
as bad
gentle
as it
hanging.
sounds. So, you're going to read up to that. Yes. Okay?
So we want to sort of contextualize this by asking about the West. And so when we talk about the West, most of us have these ideas about the West. We think of words like freedom, for example, self-reliance, independence, and so forth. Those words in turn are wrapped around an image that we have of the West that's very romantic. Sometimes it's a cowboy we might think of, riding off into the sunset after a wee bit of satisfying violence. A John Wayne on the hoof kind of guy, 6-shooter at the ready, baddies beware. Baddies beware. Baddies beware. that of course had nothing to do with the West or Western expansion. Actually, if we wanted a historically accurate view of the West, what we would look to is England, where we got our ideas of property ownership in the first place. The common phrase you might have heard comes to mind in this context: beyond the pale. When I first heard that, I thought of colors, something somehow whiter than white. Boy, was I wrong. Turns out pale is the way to describe a fencing post. It's part of the root of the word impale, as in Dracula liked to impale his victims. The term pale eventually came to be associated with all the land enclosed within a fenced-off property. So to be beyond the pale was to be outside the area accepted as your land or your home. All this goes to explain how England, and thus the original Western settlers, thought of property as something to be rounded up and defined, properly fenced in. This is mine, this is yours. On this continent, however, there were problems. Right from the start, put simply, there were too many claims. If we wanted a truly accurate picture of Western expansion, we would replace John Wayne with a bespectacled land surveyor, or maybe a claims lawyer, trying earnestly to allocate thousands of claims based on everything from outright purchases to squatters' rights. There's a fellow like Elijah Hayward. He was a land commissioner, one of the first. He had to process tens of thousands of claims, up to 40 to 50,000 claims a year. It got so bad that he started to drink. That got so bad that the President of the United States, Andrew Jackson at the time, actually wrote him and said, quote, "Please desist entirely from taking any spirits whatsoever, unless it was table wine." That apparently was okay, so you could do that. Anyhow, Hayward didn't stop drinking, and he ultimately was fired. Congress finally figured out they needed to increase the aid, but even that wasn't sufficient to take on all of the claims that were getting processed. The numbers are just overwhelming. There were other inhabitants too, which is something else the claims processors had to worry about. We might recall that there were our indigenous friends, the Indians, that were on that land. The Choctaw, the Apache, Navajo, Sioux, Creek, Cherokee, etc. They had to be moved, or sadly in many cases removed. And there were also French claims and Spanish claims to the same property. But the real problem in Western expansion were the settlers themselves. There were too many of them, too anxiously pushing forward to acquire property and set out claims. And the claims process was slow. A surveyor, an authorization of the surveyor was to proceed any auction or sale of public lands. Settlers did not wait. They pushed ahead.
So
go ahead.
We'll do the Sunrise song now. Twila Jane has torn down fences. She's being chased by a posse. She wakes up in the morning and appreciates the landscape that she loves so much. And in the distance, she sees the dust of the hoods of the posse coming after her. But this is a moment of reflection before hopping on her beloved Arabian Violet to outrun the posse.
So Twila is in the midst of this great claims rush. People are fighting off, they're grabbing land as fast as they can. They're not paying any attention to the Lands Claims Office. So they put up homes and put up fences in advance of any formal legal documents. That was the true nature of the Wild West. And out of this, we can begin to see the outline of some common current threads. Real estate speculation from today, disdain for big government, and, of course, one ominous problem, the monopolization of land by large and powerful organizations who would use their wealth and proximity to power to win the necessary legal battles to obtain more property. Think of the West as we know it. Mining corporations, companies, railroads, and large cattle ranches all dominated the landscape and overwhelmed individual efforts to establish private property. To put this simply, the passion for Western expansion was not about freedom, nor about breaking out of fences. It was a passion for property. It was a passion for property that could be turned into profit. Into this mix now, we introduce Twila Jane, the heroine of our ballad. She has fled New York, as Barry said, looking for different life, looking for, in fact, freedom, as the myth of the West would have it. Only she finds fences that have been put up by those who are far more interested in profit than freedom. They have corralled her favorite Arabian horse. In a fit of anger, she has torn the fences down that surround her. She has gone beyond the pale. This kind of temerity, of course, will not be borne by the landowners, and she is subsequently hung for her defiance. This is her hanging song, which is oddly hopeful, after all, suggesting to me that there are some ideas that defy both fences and hanging that are really perfect.
And we're hopefully what we're aiming for is to do a kind of a theatrical presentation of the Cowgirl Suite. We're working on it in pieces. And there's your umbrella. While we try to figure out what's going to happen next, why don't we have a duet? Kassia and CJ? Oh, you want to do that? Okay.
Duet.
Kassia,
It's so boring.
sorry, CJ. Are you going to do that too? Okay. Kassia, Ezra, and CJ.
Trio.
Trio.
On the job learning. Oh, it actually starts with the drums. 1, 2, 3.
Band, we're going to do Yemaya, and we're going to give, I think we'll let the solo be Jonathan. Take as long as you want, Jonathan, okay? Yemaya is in Orisha, and Yemaya is the guardian of twins. My twins are here tonight. She has an adopted twin. And people think that they're twins, right? So this is Yemaya. tango, and then Roostamel, and then we're going to have some Yiddish theater. Rodney, who's not Yiddish, but he's a wild and crazy thespian.
I love song.
You want to do the whole shebang? Okay, we're gonna do the whole shebang.
Whole shebang.
Yeah, I know this one. This is
Do y'all have objections? No, we gotta have objections. For some reason,
I know.
Team zero.
Ready?
count us in with the 1, 2, 3, 4, but it kind of goes wherever he feels like it. So if you feel so inspired to shout out 1, 2, 3, 4
At any time.
at any point in time for Bill, because he's not here. For Bill, you know, that 1, 2, 3, 4s. We've learned to still keep time. An hour or two.
follow that. You have to follow that, Rodney. Yes,
Yes, I will always do that.
this is Rodney, our friend Rodney. So we're going to do a little Yiddish theater, and just briefly, Yiddish theater was a big part of vaudeville, and a lot of people mistakenly think that vaudeville is burlesque, and it's not. Vaudeville was actually, it was focused on housewives. The theater stayed open all day long. It was usually cool in the summer, not air conditioning, but they kept it cooler. And housewives would buy a ticket, and they'd go in and out all throughout their day. And it predated soap operas and melodrama. So a lot of what was going on in Yiddish theater were melodramas. And we have the king of melodrama right here.
It's true.
Listen to my tale.
So we're going to do a little Yiddish theater, and we're going to let Rodney read. And if you want to cry, feel free.
I'm gonna cry.
You're going to cry, because it's a sad, sad tale. And if you want to laugh, you can laugh too. And we're going to do some sound effects and things behind Rodney. We're going to give him our support. Emotionally, Rodney, we're going to support.
And physically too.
He's a method actor. Give him a chance.
A cold night, foggy, and darkness everywhere. A boy stands sadly and looks around. Only a wall protects him from the rain. He holds a basket in his hand, and his eyes beg everyone silently. I don't have the strength left to walk these streets hungry and ragged. Wet from the rain, I slept around from dawn. Nobody gives me any earnings. Everyone laughs and makes fun of me. Buy my cigarettes, dry ones not wet from the rain. Buy real cheap. Buy, have pity on me. Save me from hunger now. Buy my matches, wonderful ones, the best. And with that you will uplift an orphan. My screaming and my running will be for naught. Nobody wants to buy from me. I will perish like a dog. My father lost his hands in the war. My mother couldn't bear his troubles anymore and was driven to her grave at a young age. I was left on this earth unhappy and alone like a stone. I gathered prophecy in the cold market. A hard bench in the cold park is my bed, and on top of that, police. They beat me with the edges of their swords and sticks. My pleas and my cries are of no use. I had a little sister, a child of nature. Together we slept around for an entire year. When with her it was much easier for me. My hunger weakened when I glanced at her. Suddenly she became weak and sick. Died in my arms on a street bench. When I lost her, I lost everything. Let death come already for me too.
Let's hear it for Rodney. That was the best yet, Rodney. That was the best yet.
Thank you.
Twila's been after me to do some of our new stuff. So let's do the I'm a Mess song and see if we can mess that one up. Okay?
I mean, it's also a trope of Breakfast Cabaret to like bring new songs. So.
It's called
Constance Everby.
Constance Everby.
We'll find it.
It's in there.
It's like we're working on songs and they get stuck in my head. We should sing them.
There it is.
There it is. You have a copy?
I'm a mess. Yeah, it's right here.
There, it's I'm a Mess. He's got
I'm a
it.
mess.
I'm a Mess. So,
That's true.
I love this song.
so I wrote this song for Twila because we get together when we rehearse, we just sit around and cry.
It's true.
And so I wrote this song for her. It's called I'm a Mess. So,
Not a sad fact.
I'm not sure if the whole band knows the form, but we'll figure it out. Basically the band plays Pocket Bell Cannon. Right, and then I play on top of it, and then Twila sings on top of it. Okay.
All right.
It's
No way.
different. We're gonna messing things up. Let's do new songs.
Oh, you can play the melody, huh? See, in case you haven't figured it out, I'm the weak link in the band. I'm the weak link. So it goes. See, I wrote another song that sounds a lot. Okay, here we go.
Lovers come, lovers go. I'll always be a mess. Yes, I'll always be a mess. Money comes, money goes. I'll always be a mess. Yes, I'll always be a mess. So that's something you should know. I'll always be a mess. Yes, I'll always be
No, I don't think, I'm not going to go that far. Okay. I think we have time for one more.
No.
No?
Yeah.
What, do we keep playing?
Are they kicking us out?
What, do we just keep playing?
Yeah.
You want to do Orchard Choni?
I want to do the Blackbird song.
You want to do the Blackbird? Let's do Orchard Choni and then the Blackbird, and then we'll check in after that.
Yeah, and if y'all are bored of us, 2 more. Live for 2 more? Alright, here we go.
Yeah.
Is there never hold your back to shine, knowing that I must go. Count the joys I give, they all went to you. What is left to me? It's just a memory. That's all to know. That's all to know. What is memory? Like what I see. What was there? Just a mirror.
posted the Bluebird song on Facebook, and no, he posted, you saw it.
Oh, yeah,
The Blackbird.
Yeah, the Blackbird song.
And it ends up that used to be when Twila was a punk. It was in the closet, but she loved that song as a punk.
It's right around in my van.
So they're going to do it.
We tried it this morning, and it was all right.
Okay, so go ahead. So do whatever. Yeah, okay.
Give me a little thing like you did this morning. Pack up all my candles, here I go, singing low, somebody waits for me, sugar sweet and so sweet.
These are her cups over here. They can only be here tonight. Lauren is taking a tour of all the national parks in the United States. And a lot of her cups have to do with national parks. So we have one of Trisha's rocks here. Did you bring any more rocks, Trisha?
No, I didn't.
No.
I didn't want to carry around.
Okay. I have a cane that somebody made me, carved an accordion into it and brought it to me at Breakfast Cabaret. And I have the posters. I spent the afternoon printing out all 190 Breakfast Cabaret posters. And if you look at them, there's been, I guess, about 20 artists who I've included in posters, sketches that they've done. So please join us. Remember, life is a process and not a product. And that's what we do at Breakfast Cabaret. So come around and see us on Friday morning. Breakfast Cabaret, it's inevitable.